myself in it. Who's going to want to dump pollution on me? Well, I don't know. Maybe some people would, but you know, I'm just hoping that we'll raise awareness.
For those who aren't familiar with swimming such a long distance, what are some of the challenges that you have to face out there?
Well, in a river, the biggest challenge here in the St. Johns River is the current. We have a specific time that we have to launch based on the ebb tide and the ebb velocity of the ebb current. This morning we left at 7:50 a.m. If we would have left 15 minutes later, we would have taken a whole different course because of the current. If we had left sooner, we would end up in Mayport. So if we went too late, we'd end up in Palatka. So we have to, you know, it's kind of like launching a space shuttle. We have to, you know, launch at a certain time. So it's about the currents. So generally, when we go across the channel, I follow the river, and the boat follows me. Once we get up here in the littoral area, then I follow the boat. But you know, when I first started this thing months and months ago, you know, it was kind of like I'm going to challenge the river, and it's not that. The river is challenging me, and I'm working with it. It's a very zen process, and we work with the river. And that's the metaphor here, is that we want to work with the river. You know, you leave it alone, it'll treat you really good. And I left it alone. I went out there and I did what it taught me to do, and it helped me get across. And it's the same way in the future for our kids. We let the river do what it wants to do, and it's going to take good care of us.
Just tell us some of your thoughts as you're swimming this long distance. What are you thinking of?
Well, that's a really, really good question. It's probably better than you thought it was. I actually wrote an article about that a couple of months ago. It was called Behind the Goggles, and it talks about what open water swimmers think about. Because, you know, like, you know, if I'm running or I'm riding a bicycle or hiking or something, I have visual stimulus and audio stimulus. And when you're in the open water and your head's down pretty much most of the time, so you don't really have any stimulus. So it's kind of like, what do you think about, you know, your taxes, your relationship, a problem at work? You know, so it's a very meditative process. My son James, wherever he is back here, has taught me a little bit about that, and I just take it one stroke at a time. Just like, you know, and again, that's a metaphor for my life as well. I just try to take it one stroke at a time. I don't think about 2 strokes ahead, 2 strokes back, or anything like that. It's just a very in-the-moment experience, and that's kind of how you keep your head clear.
Do you appreciate the river more now? You know, I know this isn't your first time crossing it, but you know, how does it make you feel now that you have crossed it so many times and can do that?
You know, it's a bucket list thing for me. I stood right here 4 or 5 years ago after I recovered from a hip injury, and I was trying to think of the name of my company, and I came here for that reason, just to kind of get some space to think, and because I love this particular spot. And the sun was setting, and the mullet were jumping out of the water, and it's like jumping fish. And that's how the name of my company was born. And at that point, I was kind of like, one of these days I'm going to swim across this thing. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And now we're here. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.